Hello friends, welcome to Prashant IAS. So friends, in the last class, we have discussed about the making of our constitution. And from this class, we will continue our discussion further. So friends, in the last class, I have told you that the parliamentary system, that we have adopted the parliamentary system from the constitution of UK. Okay, and in this class we will study about this parliamentary system in detail. Okay, that what is this parliamentary system? So friends, on the one hand there is parliamentary system and on the other hand there is presidential form of system. So actually what they are, what is parliamentary form of system and what is presidential form of system? So actually they are the forms of government. Okay, so let's pick the story from the very beginning. Now friends, there is a form of government called as monarchy. Okay, so on the one hand there is monarchy and on the other hand there is democracy. Now what is monarchy? So monarchy means the rule of one person. Monarchy means the rule of one king. Means the legislative powers, executive powers and judicial powers are vested in one person, and one person is the ruler of entire country. He is the parliament, he is the government and he is the judge. This is monarchy. Now on the other hand there is democracy. So what is democracy? So democracy means rule of people. Democracy means rule of many. On the other hand, on the one hand monarchy is the rule of one, but on the other hand democracy is the rule of many. Okay, so what is democracy? Democracy means the rule of people. Democracy means the rule of all the people living inside the territory of a country. Okay, now friends, there can be two types of democracies: direct democracy and indirect democracy. So what is direct democracy? So in any direct democracy, all the people come together and they make law for themselves. Okay, so what happens that on one day all the people assemble and they make law for themselves. For example, the constitution of Switzerland. But friends, India is a very vast country. USA is a very vast country. Okay, the population of India is more than 130 crores. So practically it is impossible that the entire population of India, all the people of India assemble at a single place and then they discuss and then they make law for themselves. Okay, so it is practically next to impossible that 130 crore peoples assemble at one place and then they do good discussion and then they make good laws. So it is impossible. So what happens that such a large countries adopt another form of democracy. So it is known as indirect democracy. So what happens in indirect democracy? That people do not make their laws themselves. Okay, then who makes the law? People choose their representatives. Okay, people choose their representatives and then these representatives makes the law for the people. Okay, so what happens that people choose their representatives and then these representatives makes the law for people. Okay, so friends, that's why it is also known as representative democracy. Okay, now friends, representative democracy or indirect democracy can be of two types: parliamentary form of democracy or presidential form of democracy, or parliamentary form of government or presidential form of government. So what is the basic difference between the two? So friends, what happens in presidential form of government, that all the three organs of the government are totally separate. Legislature is a separate body, executive is a separate body and judiciary is a separate body. Okay, means the members of legislature cannot be the members of executive or judiciary. The members of executive cannot be the members of legislature or judiciary. The members of judiciary cannot be the members of legislature or executive. Means there is no overlapping. All the three bodies are separate. But what happens in parliamentary democracy? That judiciary is a separate body. But friends, executive is a part of legislature. Now what does it mean? It means that all the members of executive are chosen from within the members of legislature. Okay, means all the members of executive are chosen from the members of legislature only. For example, friends, India is a parliamentary democracy. Okay, so what is executive? Executive means council of minister and prime minister. Okay, what is executive wing of government? Executive wing of government means council of ministers plus prime minister. So India is a parliamentary democracy. So friends, council of minister means all the ministers plus prime minister are chosen from the members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Okay, so what is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha? Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are the two houses of the parliament. And what is parliament? Parliament is the legislature of India, union legislature of India. Okay, and all the members of executive means all the members of council of minister and the prime minister are chosen from the members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Okay, so what does it means? It means that the members of executive are chosen from within the membership of legislature. All the members of executive at first are the members of legislature, and after that they are the members of executive. Okay, so the first difference is executive is a part of legislature in parliamentary form of government, and in presidential form of government, executive and legislature are completely separate bodies. Okay, now friends, what is the second difference? So in parliamentary form of government, president is the head of state and prime minister is the head of council of ministers. Now what does it mean? So friends, we know that India is a state. Okay, India is a sovereign state. Okay, now who is the head of India? Means who is the ruler of India? President is the head of India. It means that all the powers of India are vested in president. But friends, according to the Constitution of India, President of India shall perform all his functions and shall exercise all his powers only on the advice of Council of Ministers. Okay, means President cannot use his powers. President cannot perform his functions without the advice of Council of Ministers. President is duty bound to follow the advice of Council of Ministers. Okay, so who has the real power? Council of Minister has the real power. Why? Because President is in the hands of Council of Minister. President will do whatever Council of Minister will say. Why? Because President is duty bound by the advice of Council of Minister. So President cannot perform his functions without the advice of Council of Ministers. President cannot use his powers without the advice of Council of Ministers. And President is bound by the advice of Council of Ministers. President has to follow what the Council of Minister will say. So who has real power? Council of Minister has real power and President only has nominal power. Means President is the head for namesake. President has powers for namesake. President has nominal power and Council of Minister has real power. Why? Because President will have to do whatever the Council of Minister will say. President is entirely in the hands of Council of Minister. And friends, the head of this Council of Ministers is Prime Minister. So this Prime Minister is the boss of Council of Ministers. Okay, means this Council of Ministers is in the hand of Prime Minister. Okay, means this Prime Minister is the boss of Council of Ministers. Okay, so who is the real boss? So Prime Minister is the real boss. Okay, that's why friend, President is called as the de jure head of India. De jure head means President is the nominal head. President is the head for namesake. President has all the powers for namesake. But Prime Minister is called as the de facto head of India. De facto head means the real head. The one who has the real powers. Okay, so President is bound by the advice of Council of Ministers. Okay, and this Prime Minister is the boss of Council of Ministers. So who is supreme? Prime Minister is supreme. Prime Minister is the real boss. Prime Minister has the real executive powers. Okay, so friends, we can say that President is the head of state, means President is a nominal head. Okay, he has powers for only namesake. And Prime Minister is the head of Council of Minister, means Prime Minister has the real powers. Prime Minister is the real head. Okay, but friends, what happens in presidential form of government, that here the same person, that is the President, is acting as the head of the state as well as the head of the executive. Head of the executive means the head of the government or the head of the council of ministers. So what happens that in parliamentary form of government, president was the head of the state and president was a separate person, and prime minister was the head of the council of minister. Council of ministers means the executive wing of the government, means the wing of the government which has all the executive powers of the government. Okay, so prime minister is the head of the state and prime minister is the head of the council of minister. Council of minister means the government, means prime minister was the head of the state, president was the head of the state and prime minister was the head of the government, and they were two different persons. But what happens in presidential form of government, that a single person, president, he is the head of the state as well as he is the head of the executive, means he is the head of the council of ministers. Okay, for example friends, USA follows presidential form of government. Okay, so USA is also a state. So who is the head of USA? Okay, president of USA is the head of USA, who has all the powers of USA. All the powers of USA are vested in the president of USA. But friends, who is the head of the council of ministers of USA? The president is the head of council of ministers of USA. Who is the boss of council of ministers of USA? So president is the boss of council of ministers of USA. Okay, so president is not bound by the advice of council of ministers. President can use his discretion. President can do whatever he wants. Why? Because he is the boss of council of ministers. He is not subordinate to council of ministers. He is not bound by the advice of council of ministers. He is the boss of council of ministers. Council of ministers has to do whatever president will say. So who is powerful? President is powerful. So what happens in presidential form of government, that president is the head of state, means president is the head of state. Head of state means the president is the head of entire USA. Okay, and the same person means the same president is the head of council of ministers, means the president is the boss of council of ministers. And what is council of minister? Council of minister means the executive. Executive means the government. So the same person, that is the president, is the head of the state as well as the head of the government. Okay, so president is very, very powerful in any presidential form of government. Now friends, what is the third difference? So friends, in parliamentary form of system, ministers are from parliament only, or if not, they acquire the membership for parliament within 6 months. Now what does it mean? So it means that if anybody want to become minister in India, for example, India follows parliamentary form of system. So if any person want to become minister in India, then he should be the member of either house of parliament. Either he should be the member of Lok Sabha or he should be the member of Rajya Sabha. Okay, and if he is not the member of parliament, means if he is not the member of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha, then he has to acquire the membership of Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha within 6 months. Otherwise, he has to resign from the post of minister. Okay, but friends, what happens in presidential form of government, that ministers are not the members of legislature. Why? Because I have told you that legislature and executive are totally separate bodies. So it is not allowed for the members of legislature to become the members of executive. So the members of legislature are totally different. Members of executive are totally different. Okay. So in presidential form of government, ministers are not the members of legislature. So how ministers are chosen? So president choose his ministers from citizens at large. Means president has the power to make anyone as the minister. Okay. Now what is the fourth difference? So friends, council of minister is responsible to the lower house of the legislature. Now what does it mean? So we will take the example of India. So in India, lower house is Lok Sabha. So the council of minister in India is responsible to Lok Sabha. Now what does it mean? It means that council of minister is answerable to Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha can ask questions from council of ministers, and council of minister has to give answer to Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha also has the power to punish council of minister. Lok Sabha can even remove council of minister. But friends, in presidential form of government, president and his ministers are not responsible to legislature. Means legislature does not have power to ask question from them. Legislature does not have power to punish them. They are responsible, means president and his ministers are responsible to the citizens of their country. For example, the president of USA is directly responsible to the citizens of USA. He is not responsible towards the legislature, means legislature has no right to punish him or to remove him. Okay. Now what is the fifth difference? So in any parliamentary system, so friends, what happens that parliamentary system puts greater emphasis on the accountability of executive and has less stability of executive. Now what does it mean? So what is executive? Executive means council of minister. Okay, so I have told you that council of ministers means the executive is responsible to legislature. Okay, so executive is responsible to legislature, means legislature has the power to remove the council of minister. Legislature has the power to punish the executive. Okay, so executive is highly accountable. Okay, means executive cannot do anything wrong. If executive will do anything wrong, then legislature will punish the executive. Legislature even has the power to remove the executive, means the entire control of executive is in the hands of legislature. Executive cannot do anything wrong. Executive is not free. Executive is under the pressure of legislature. Legislature has the power to ask question from executive. Legislature can punish executive. Legislature can even remove executive. Means executive is highly accountable. But friends, executive is not stable. Now what does it mean? So it means that if legislature thinks that executive is not performing its work well, or executive is the policies of executive are not good, then legislature even has the power to remove the executive. Means the government is not stable. The government is on the pleasure of legislature. Okay, so when legislature will want, legislature will remove the executive. So it means that the government is accountable, but the government is not stable. But what happens in presidential system? That it lays greater stress on the stability of executive rather than accountability. Now what does it mean? So it means that president and his executive, means president and his council of minister, means the executive wing of the government, they are not responsible to the legislature. Legislature do not have the power to punish them. Legislature do not have the power to remove them. Means they are not accountable. They are directly responsible to the people of USA, but they are not responsible to the legislature, means they are not that accountable. Okay, but the government is highly stable, means nobody can remove the government, nobody can remove the president from his position. So it is also said that once the president of US is elected, then it is next to impossible to remove him from his post. Okay, why? Because the process of the removal of the president is very difficult. It is next to impossible to remove the president of USA because the process of his removal is very difficult. Okay, means the government is highly stable. It is very difficult to remove the government, but the government is not that accountable because there is no one to ask question from the government. There is no one to punish the government. Why? Because even though government is responsible to people, but people will only get power to punish the government in the elections. Okay, so it means for next 4-5 years government will become very powerful. It will become impossible to remove the government. Okay, now friends, as parliamentary form of government is followed in India, so we are more concerned with the parliamentary form of system, and presidential form of system is not that relevant for us. It is important, but it is not that relevant. Okay, we are more concerned with the parliamentary form of system. So friends, I have told you that in any parliamentary form of system, executive is responsible to legislature, means the council of minister is responsible to Lok Sabha. So now question arises that how Lok Sabha can punish the government. Okay, so friends, now we will discuss about that how Lok Sabha can punish the government. So Lok Sabha can punish the government in following ways. Okay, for example, Lok Sabha can remove the government by passing no confidence motion. Now what is no confidence motion? So if the no confidence motion is passed, so no confidence motion is passed by simple majority. So for example, if the no confidence motion is introduced in Lok Sabha and no confidence motion can only be introduced in Lok Sabha. It cannot be introduced in Rajya Sabha. So for example, if no confidence motion is introduced in Lok Sabha and if it is passed via simple majority, then the government will be removed. Okay. So what happens that suppose if the no confidence motion, okay, if the no confidence motion is introduced in Lok Sabha, okay, and remember that it can only be introduced in Lok Sabha. It cannot be introduced in Rajya Sabha. Okay. So if no confidence motion is introduced in Lok Sabha and if it is passed by a simple majority, okay, then the government will be removed. Okay. So in this way, Lok Sabha can punish the government. Now what is this no confidence motion? Okay, we will study it in detail when we will study the proceedings of the parliament. Now friends, if money bill is not passed, then the government may fall. Means if the money bill, now friends, money bill can also be introduced in Lok Sabha only. Money bill cannot be introduced in Rajya Sabha. Okay, money bill can only be introduced in Lok Sabha. So if the money bill of the government is not passed, then government stands censored. Then it is believed that government do not have the faith of Lok Sabha. Okay, suppose government presented money bill in Lok Sabha and money bill is not passed by the Lok Sabha, then it is assumed that government do not have the majority in Lok Sabha or Lok Sabha do not have the faith in government. Okay, then it is the duty of the government to bring the confidence motion. So now what government will do means what the executive wing of the government will do means what the council of ministers will do. They will bring confidence motion in Lok Sabha. And this confidence motion should be passed by a simple majority. Okay, so if the confidence motion is passed by simple majority, then government will remain in power. But if the confidence motion is not passed by simple majority in Lok Sabha, then the government will be removed. Means Lok Sabha is very powerful. Lok Sabha can punish the government in many ways. Okay, now friends, if any major policy of the government is turned down by Lok Sabha, government may be asked to resign. Now what does it mean? So suppose a government brings a major policy. Okay, major policy means a public policy, a big public policy. Okay, and if that public policy is not passed by Lok Sabha, okay, if that public policy is not passed by Lok Sabha, then it is thought that Lok Sabha do not have faith in the government or government do not enjoy majority in Lok Sabha. Then now again it is the duty of the government to bring confidence motion to prove its majority. Okay, so then what will happen that government will introduce confidence motion in Lok Sabha. Okay, and if this confidence motion is passed by a simple majority, then government will remain in power. But if this confidence motion is not passed, then government will simply be removed. Okay, means now the council of minister will be dismissed. Government will be removed. Okay, now friends, by not passing vote for thanks, Lok Sabha can remove the government. Now what is vote for thanks? So what is vote for thanks? So friends, what happens that every year the first session of the parliament is addressed by the President of India. Okay, so what happens that every year first session of the parliament is addressed by the President of India. And what President does in that session, President gives a speech. And in that speech, President tells about all the works done by the government in previous year. Okay, so what happens that every year the first session of the parliament is addressed by the President of India. Okay, and what President does, that President gives a speech. Okay, and what is there in that speech? President tells about all the works done by the government in the previous year. Okay, for example, my government has done this, my government has done this. Okay, my government has bring this policy, my government has done this, and all these kind of things. Okay, so president tells that what the government has done in the previous year. Okay, President also tells that what government will do in the upcoming year. Okay, so President tells two things. First, that what my government has done in the last year, and then he tells that what my government will do in the upcoming years. President tells that what were the major policies of the government in the last year and what will be the major policies of the government in the upcoming year. Okay, and after the speech of the president, a vote for thanks is introduced in Lok Sabha. Okay, and if this vote for thanks, okay, so it is also a kind of bill. Okay, for the time being, you just understand that it is also a kind of bill, though it is not a bill. Okay, it is not a bill, but for your understanding, you can think that it is a kind of bill. So that vote for thanks is introduced in Lok Sabha. Vote for thanks is just like a feedback for the speech of president, that do you like the speech of president or do you not like the speech of president. Okay, so if that vote for thanks is passed by the Lok Sabha, then no problem, government will remain in power. But friends, if the vote for thanks is not passed by Lok Sabha, then government can be removed. Okay, if the vote for thanks is not passed by the Lok Sabha, then government can be removed. Then it is thought that government do not have majority in Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha has no faith in government. Then again government has to bring confidence motion. And if this confidence motion is passed by a simple majority, then government will remain in power. Otherwise government will be removed. Now friends, Rajya Sabha can only ask question from the government, but Rajya Sabha do not have any power to remove the government. Okay, Rajya Sabha can only ask question, but Rajya Sabha do not enjoy any power to remove the government. So it means that in India, Lok Sabha is very, very powerful. Lok Sabha can punish the government, can remove the government in many ways. Okay. Now friends, as I have told you that we have adopted the parliamentary system for UK. So it is our duty to compare the parliamentary system of UK and India. Okay, and it can also be asked in your exam, preliminary exam as well as mains exam. So now we will compare the parliamentary system of India and parliamentary system of UK and what are the differences between the two. So friends, Indian parliamentary system provides a federal form of government. Now what is federal form of government? Federal form of government means two levels of government, one government at central level and one government at state level, and both the governments are equally powerful. None is subordinate to other. Okay, both have equal powers, and there is a clear cut demarcation of powers between the central government and state government. So we can see in India there is a government at central level and there are governments at state level, and there is a division of power between central government and state government. Okay, so I have also explained it to you in the previous classes. Okay, so in India we follow federal form of government, but friends, UK provides a unitary system. Now what is unitary system? Unitary system means there is only one government, and that too at central level. It means that in United Kingdom there is only central government. Okay, and friends, central government is very, very powerful. All the powers of the government, all the powers of the state are vested in central government. Why? Because in any unitary setup, in any unitary form of unitary system, there is only one government, and that is central government. Okay, but friends, what happens that in some countries there are state governments also. In some unitary countries there are state governments also, but these state governments do not have any discretionary powers. These state governments do not have any real powers. These state governments are the administrative arms of the center. So what are they? They are just the administrative arms of the center. For example, in India, districts are the administrative arms of the state. Okay, for example, district collector is subordinate to chief minister. Okay, district collector is the head of district and chief minister is the head of state. So district collector is subordinate to chief minister. Okay, district collector is subordinate to chief minister. Why? Because district is just an administrative arm of the state. District derives all its powers from the state. So same system applies in the unitary form of government, that in any unitary form of government, in any unitary system, there is only one government, and that too at central level, means there is only central government. And even if there are state governments, for example, in some countries, some unitary countries, there are state governments, but these state governments are just the administrative arms of the center, just like the districts of India. Okay, so they do not have any real power. They do not have any discretionary powers. Okay, they have to work according to the directions of center. For example, district collectors work according to the direction of chief minister. Okay, district collector has to follow the orders of chief minister. Why? Because districts are the administrative arms of the state. Similarly, in unitary system, states are the administrative arms of the center. So state government has to work according to the directions of the center. State government has to follow the orders of the center. State government do not have any real power. The real powers are only vested in center government. Okay. Now friends, in India, so India is a republic, but UK is a monarchy. Now what is republic and what is monarchy? So republic means the head of the state is elected. Head of the state is not hereditary. Okay, so in India we can see the head of the state is President of India. So the post of the President of India is a elected post. It is not an hereditary post. But UK is a monarchy. So what is monarchy? Monarchy means hereditary system. So I have just explained you what is monarchy. So in UK what happens, that the head of the UK is a single person. Okay, because monarchy is the rule of one. So head of the UK is a single person. Okay, the monarch of UK. Okay, he can be the king of UK or the queen of UK. Okay, so UK is a monarchy. It means that there the head of UK is a single person and he is hereditary. Hereditary means the son of king will become the king. Okay, so the son of the monarch of UK becomes the next monarch of UK. So UK is a monarchy, means the post of the head of UK, means the post of the ruler of UK or the head of UK is not elected. The post of the ruler of UK or the head of UK is hereditary, means the son of king will become the next king. So this happens in United Kingdom. Now in India, upper house of India means Rajya Sabha. Okay, so upper house of Indian Parliament represents the interest of states. Okay, now what does it mean? So friends, we know that there are many states in India. For example, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Kerala, Telangana, Odisha. Okay, so the Rajya Sabha means the upper house of the parliament is the house for the interest of states. Means in Rajya Sabha the interest of states is represented. Okay, means Rajya Sabha is the house which deals with the interest of state. Rajya Sabha sees whether the interest of state is served or not, whether the interest of any state is affected or not. Means Rajya Sabha is established as the house for the interest of states. But friends, the House of Lords means the upper house of United Kingdom. The House of Lords is not a representative of states. Okay, so what does it mean? It means that the House of Lords or the upper house of the Parliament of Britain is not the representative of states. It is the representative of feudal class or the elite class. Okay, so the House of Lords does not represent the interest of states. Okay, unlike India. So the House of Lords in the Parliament of United Kingdom does not represent the interest of states. It represents the interests of the feudal class, of the feudal lords. Okay, now what is the fourth difference? So in India, constitution is supreme. Okay, so we know that India has a written constitution, and in any written constitution system, constitution is supreme. Legislature is subordinate to constitution. Constitution is the supreme law of the land. But friends, in UK, as we all know that UK has unwritten constitution. Okay, so in UK, constitution is not supreme. In UK, legislature is supreme. Okay, it means that legislature is most powerful. Legislature is more powerful than the constitution. Legislature can change the constitution according to its wish. Okay, why? Because each and every enactment of the legislature will become the part of their constitution. So these were the differences between the parliamentary system of India and United Kingdom. Now friends, I will explain you the system of majority, that what is majority. Okay, so it is a very important concept and it will be used in further classes. So it is very important for us to understand what is majority. So friends, to approve any task, the support of a fixed number of MPs is required and it is known as majority. So suppose there is a bill in the legislature and suppose the strength of the legislature is 400. Okay, just suppose that the strength of the legislature is 400. So if the bill is supported by 50% plus 1, means if the bill is supported by more number of people. If the bill is supported by 201 members, then the bill will be passed. So what is majority? Majority means to approve any task, the support of a fixed number of member of parliaments. MPs means member of parliaments is required. Okay, so to approve any task, any bill, the support of a fixed number of MPs is required, and this is known as the majority. Okay, now friends, majority can be of many type. Okay, so when we will study about the types of majority, then you will clearly understand that what is actually majority. So first of all, there comes simple majority. So what is simple majority? So friends, simple majority refers to a majority of more than 50% of the members present and voting in the house. So what is simple majority? Simple majority refers to a majority of more than 50% of the members present and voting in the house. Okay, now this is also known as functional or working majority. Now friends, in order to make you understand this concept more clearly, I will give you an example. Okay, because I know the definition is little bit technical and many of you have not connected with the definition. So I will explain this with the help of an example. So friends, we all know that the current strength of Lok Sabha is 543. That the maximum number of members in the Lok Sabha is 543. Okay. Now suppose on a given day, 43 members were absent. Okay. So the membership of Lok Sabha is 543, but on a given day, 43 members were absent. So how many were present? 500 members were present. Okay. So 543 was the original strength of Lok Sabha, 43 members were absent and 500 members were present. Now friends, what happened? That 100 people decided that they will not vote. Okay, so 100 people decided that they will not take part in the voting and they will not vote. So they did not vote. So now 500 people were present. Out of that, 100 people did not vote. So only 400 people casted their vote. So these 400 people will be called as present and voting. So present and voting means these people were present and they voted. Okay, so these people were present and they casted their vote. So these 400 will be called as present and voting. Now friends, what is simple majority? Simple majority means more than 50% of the members present and voting. For example, in this example, 400 members were present and voting. So now we will calculate the 50% of 400. So what is the 50% of 400? So 400 multiplied by 50 divided by 100. So how to calculate the 50%? So 400 multiplied by 50 divided by 100. So when you will do calculation, the number will come 200. Okay. Now friends, more than 200, because majority means more than. So what was the definition? That more than 50% of the members present and voting. So 50% of the members present and voting was 200. So more than 200 will be 200 plus 1 means 201. So when any bill will be supported by 201 members, if a bill is supported by 201 members or more, then the bill will be called as passed. Okay, so what is simple majority? Simple majority means more than 50% of the members present and voting. For example, 400 people were present and voting and the 50% of 400 is 200. Okay, so now we will add 1. Why? Because we need more than 50%. 200 is only 50%. Listen to my words carefully. 200 is only 50%. And for majority, we need more than 50%. So we will add 1. So the strength will become 201. So when a bill will be supported by 201 members or more than that, then the bill will be called as passed. So this is known as simple majority. Now friends, where this simple majority is used? So this simple majority is used in ordinary bill, money bill. Okay, so ordinary bill is passed by simple majority, money bill is passed by simple majority, confidence motion is passed by simple majority, no confidence motion is passed by simple majority. So just now in this class only I have told you about confidence motion and no confidence motion. That if the confidence motion is passed by Lok Sabha, then the government will remain in power. And if it will be not passed, then the government will lose power. Similarly, if no confidence motion is passed, then government will lose power. And if no confidence motion is not passed, then government will remain in power. So these all bills are passed by simple majority. Okay. Now friends, we will look towards another type of majority. This is known as absolute majority. So what is absolute majority? So this refers to a majority of more than 50% of the House total membership. Okay. So what is absolute majority? Absolute majority refers to a majority of more than 50% of the House's total membership. Now, in order to explain this, I will give you an example. Okay. Now, friends, here the highlighted words are House's total membership. So, we all know that the total membership of Lok Sabha is 543. Okay. Total membership of Lok Sabha is 543, means there are 543 maximum number of members in Lok Sabha. Now, what is the 50% of 543? So, 543 multiplied by 50 divided by 100. So, how to calculate the 50% of 543? So, 543 times 50 divided by 100. So, when you will do calculation, the number will come 271.5. So, now friends, it is impossible to bring half MP, okay, because half person cannot survive. Okay, it is a common sense. So we need more than 271.5. Why? Because majority means more. Majority means more than 50%. Because 271.5 is only 50%, and we need more than 50%. And actually, practically, it is impossible to bring half member of parliament. It is practically impossible to bring half person because half person cannot survive. Okay, because actually Rahu and Ketu, we cannot apply the concept of Rahu and Ketu in the real world. Okay, now, so what is more than 271.5? 272 is more than 271.5. So absolute majority in Lok Sabha is 272. So what is absolute majority? Absolute majority means more than 50% of total membership of House. So total membership of House is 543. So when you will do 50%, means multiplied by 50 upon 100, then the number will come 271.5. And what is more than 271.5? So it is 272. So 272 is the absolute majority of House. Okay, so please do remember, absolute majority means more than 50% of the total membership of the House. Now friends, where this majority is used? So this majority is used during general elections for government formation at center and states. Okay, so I have told you that how the government is formed in India at the center level and the states level. So what happens in center level? I have told you in the, I think, first or second class, I don't remember. I have told you that how the government forms. Okay, so this type of majority is used in the formation of government. So the party who will have the absolute majority in Lok Sabha. For example, this time BJP had absolute majority in Lok Sabha, so BJP formed the government. So the party which will have absolute majority in Lok Sabha, that party will form the government. Means the party should have more than or equal to 272 MPs. Okay. Now friends, what is effective majority? Okay. So effective majority refers to a majority of more than 50% of the effective strength of the House. Okay. So what is effective majority? Effective majority means more than 50% of the effective strength of the House. Now the highlighted words are effective strength of the House. So what is effective strength? So effective strength means total membership of the House minus vacancies in the House. Now what is vacancy? Vacancy means the persons who are now no more the member of House. For example, a person due to death, for example, vacancies created in the House due to death, resignation or disqualification. Now what does it mean? It means that suppose when the Lok Sabha was constituted, there were 543 members in Lok Sabha. But now some people died. Okay, some people died. So vacancies created. Okay, some people resigned because now they did not want to, now they do not want to be the MP. Okay, so some people resigned. Okay, and some people were disqualified. Okay, so on what basis can be disqualified? We will discuss this when we will study about the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Okay, so for the time being, you just understand that vacancies can be created in the house due to death, resignation, or disqualification. For example, when the Lok Sabha was constituted, there were 543 members, but some members died, so vacancies were created. Some members resigned, so again vacancies created, and some members were disqualified. So suppose there were 543 members, now one member died, one member resigned, and two members were disqualified. So in all, there were 4 vacancies. So now the effective strength will be 543 minus 4 equal to 539. So now what is the effective strength of the house? 539. Okay, these are just hypothetical numbers. Okay, these are not the real numbers. So what is the effective strength of the house now? 539. Now what is the 50% of this effective strength? So in order to calculate 50% of this effective strength, so what we will do? We will just multiply it by 50 and divide it by 100. So 539 multiplied by 50 and divided by 100. Okay. So when you will do calculation, the result will come 269.5. Now we need more than that, means 270. So what will become the effective majority? 270. So what is effective majority? Effective majority means more than 50% of the effective strength of the house. Now what was effective strength? Effective strength was 539, means total membership minus vacancies. Now we will do 50% of that 539. Okay, and now we need more than that. So the 50% of 539 was 269.5, and for majority we need more. So 270 becomes the effective majority. Now friends, where this majority is used? So this majority is used in the removal of speaker and deputy speaker. Okay, so speaker of Lok Sabha and deputy speaker of Lok Sabha. And this majority is also used in the removal of chairman of Rajya Sabha and deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha. Okay, chairman of Rajya Sabha and deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha. Now friends, Vice President of India is the chairman of Rajya Sabha. So do remember this, effective majority is used in the removal of chairman Rajya Sabha and deputy chairman Rajya Sabha. Now friends, then comes special majority, and it is also very important. So what is special majority? So any majority other than simple, absolute and effective are called as special majorities. Okay, so any majority which is other than simple means which is not simple, which is not absolute, which is not effective. These all majorities are special majorities. Now special majorities are further divided. For example, the first type of special majority is special majority under Article 61, according to Article 61. Now what is this? So this is majority of 2/3 of the total strength of the house. Majority of 2/3 of the total strength of the house. Now what does it mean? So friends, we all know that the strength of Lok Sabha is 543. So now we will multiply 2 by 3 in 543. Why? Because we need to find 2/3 of 543. Because this special majority is 2/3 of total strength of the house, or we can say that more than 2/3 of the total strength of the house. So total strength of the house is 543. So now we will calculate 2/3 of 543. So 543 multiplied by 2 by 3. So then when you will do calculation, the result will come 362. So we need more than 362 members. We need the support of more than 362 members for this majority. Means when any bill will be supported by a support of at least 363 members. Why? Because 362 is 2/3 and we need more than 2/3. Okay, so when any bill will be supported by at least 363 MPs or more than that, then that bill will be passed according to special majority. Now where this majority is used? So friends, this majority is used in the impeachment of the President of India. Okay, so I have told you that President of India can be removed if he has violated the constitution. So how he will be removed? He will be removed by using this majority. So first of all, the proposal of the removal of the president should be passed by Lok Sabha, okay, by a special majority of more than 2/3 of the total strength of the house. Means if 363 members of Lok Sabha or more than that will support that proposal, then only the proposal will be passed. then that proposal will be sent to Rajya Sabha. Then Rajya Sabha will inquire the charges. Okay, and after that Rajya Sabha, voting will take place in Rajya Sabha. And if the bill is passed in Rajya Sabha by a special majority of more than 2/3 of the total strength of Rajya Sabha, then the president will be removed. So this is the process of the removal of president. So when we will study about president, we will discuss about it in detail. Now friends, special majority according to article 249. Okay, now what is that? So majority of 2/3 of the members present and voting. What does it means? It means that support of more than 2/3 of the members present and voting. So I will explain you it with the help of an example. So suppose friends, suppose we know that 543 is the maximum strength of Lok Sabha. So suppose there are 543 members in Lok Sabha. Okay. Now on the voting day, 43 members were absent. Okay. Now means 43 members did not come. So how many members were present? Only 500 members were present. Okay. Now out of these 500 members, 100 members did not vote. Means they have decided that we will not vote. So how many members voted? Okay, so how many members were present who actually casted their vote? 400 members were present who actually casted their vote. So these members will be called as present and voting. Okay, so now we will calculate 2/3 of this present and voting. So what is the number of present and voting? So 400. So now we will multiply it by 2/3. So when you will do calculation, the result will come as 266.6. And now we need more than that. So what is more than 266.6? Definitely 267. So the 267 will become the special majority for Lok Sabha. Now, where this special majority is used? So this special majority is used to pass a Rajya Sabha resolution to empower the parliament to make laws in the state list. Okay. So friends, I have told you that India is a federation. So there is a clear-cut demarcation of power between center and states. There are 3 lists: union list, state list and concurrent list. So central government is authorized to make law, means parliament can make law on union list. State legislative assemblies can make law on state list. Okay. But friends, Rajya Sabha has this power that if Rajya Sabha passes a resolution by a special majority of more than 2/3 of the members present and voting. Okay, if Rajya Sabha passes a resolution by a special majority of more than 2/3 of the members present and voting, declaring a subject of state list as of national importance. Now what does it mean? It means that if Rajya Sabha declares a subject of state list, for example, there are many subjects in union list and many subjects in state lists. Okay, so if Rajya Sabha declares that this particular subject of state list is of national importance, means it is important for entire India, and Rajya Sabha passes this proposal via a special majority of more than 2/3 of the members present and voting, then Parliament will get power to make law on that subject. Okay, so this is the role of special majority according to Article 249. Now friends, there is one more special majority according to Article 368. Now what is that? So friends, majority of 2/3 of the members present and voting supported by over 50% of the total strength of the house. Now what does it means? So again I will explain you it with the help of an example. So friends, we all know that there are 543 members in Lok Sabha. Okay, and suppose now this time 143 members were absent. Okay, so how many members were absent? 143 members were absent. Okay, so now friends, only 400 members were present. Okay, so how many members were present? 400 members were present. And out of those 400 members, 100 members decided that we will not cast our vote. So 300 members became present and voting. Means these 300 members were present and they actually casted their vote. This is the meaning of present and voting. So now what we will have to do, that we will have to calculate the 2/3 of this 300, because 300 was present and voting. So we will multiply this 300 with 2/3. Okay, please see the text in yellow color. Okay, please see the text in yellow color. So now we will multiply this 300 by 2 by 3. Okay, so when you will do calculation, the number will come 200. Now we need more than 200 because majority means more than. So now we need more than 200, so we will add 1. So majority will come 201. Okay, why? Because what was the language? Majority of 2/3 of the members present and voting. So what came the majority of 2/3 of the members present and voting? So 300 members were present and voting. We calculated 2 by 3. Okay, so number came 200. So 200 was 2/3 of the present and voting. Now we need more than that. So we add 1. We will add 1 and the number came 201. Okay. But friends, now see the other part of the sentence, that it should be supported by over 50% of the total strength of the house. Okay. Now what is the total strength of the house? The total strength of the house is 543. So now we will calculate 50% of 543. So what is 50% of 543? So 543 multiplied by 50 divided by 100. So when you will do calculation, the number will come 271.5. And now we need more than that because majority means more. So the number will come 272 because 272 is the next number which is more than next integral number which is more than 271.5. Okay. So now friends, what does it means? It means that suppose now this proposal, now suppose according to the language of this sentence, if this according to the language of this sentence, what is the majority? What is the majority of 2/3 of the members present and voting? 201. Okay. Now suppose if the proposal is supported by 201 members, 202 members, or suppose 250 members, then also the proposal will not be passed. Okay. Understand? So even if the majority is 201, then also if the proposal is supported by 201 or 220 or suppose 260 members, then also proposal will not pass. Why? Because along with this majority of 2/3 of the members present and voting, we also need a majority of more than 50% of the total membership of the house. Means the number of members supporting the bill should be more than or equal to 272. Means when at least 272 members will support the bill, when at least 272 members will support the bill, 272 or more than that, then only bill will be passed. Now suppose 300 members were present and voting. So out of these 300 members, 272 members supported the bill. So now bill will be passed. So this is the special majority according to Article 368. Means we need a majority, means we need more than 2/3 of the members present and voting. More than 2/3 of the members present and voting. But we also need, listen to my words carefully, we need 2/3 of the members present and voting. More than 2/3 of the members present and voting. But we also need more than 50% of the total membership of the house. So when we will calculate the 50% of the total membership of the house, then the number will come 272. So the bill should be supported by at least 272 members. Okay. So in this example, even if more than 2/3 of the members present and voting is 201. Okay. And even if the bill is supported by 201 or more members, then also bill will not be passed because this number is less than 272. Okay. So this number is less than 272. So if the bill is supported by at least 272 members or more than that, then only bill will be passed. Okay. Now friends, where this special majority is used. So passing a constitutional amendment bill which does not affect the federalism. Okay. So friends, means this majority can be used to amend the constitution, but this majority cannot amend those provisions of the constitution which deal with the federal nature of Indian constitution. So this, by using this majority, parliament can amend all other provisions of the constitution other than federalism. Now this majority can also be used for removing judges of Supreme Court or High Court. Okay. Now friends, we will discuss about the federalism versus unitary. That what is the actual difference between federal form of government and unitary form of government. So friends, in any federal setup, two forms of government coexist and none is inferior to other. Okay. So two forms of government coexist and none is inferior to other. Okay, why? Because both of these government derives their powers and authority from the same constitution. Same constitution provide powers and authority to central government, and same constitution provides powers and authority to state government. So both the governments are equal. None is subordinate to other. Both have equal powers. None is subordinate to other. None is inferior to other. Both the governments have equal powers. Both are equal. So what happens in federal form that two forms of government coexist and none is inferior to other. None is subordinate to other. Both have equal powers and both derive their power and authority from the same constitution. Okay. So what happens in any federal system that there are two forms of government. One government at central level and one government at state level. For example, India is a federal country. So there are two forms of government, two levels of government in India. There is a government at central level and there are governments at state level. So what is federalism? So federalism is a system where there are two levels of government, where there are two forms of government coexist and none is inferior to other. Okay. But friends, what happens in any unitary setup? So in any unitary setup, here there exists one supreme government and that is at center. Okay. So what happens in any unitary setup? In any unitary setup, there exists only one supreme government and that is at center. For example, the constitution of United Kingdom is unitary. So United Kingdom is an unitary country. So in United Kingdom, there is only one government and that government is only at central level. So as there is only one government, so that government is very, very powerful. All the powers of the country are vested in central government. And friends, even if there are state governments, then these state governments are the administrative arms of the center. And these state governments will work according to the directions given by the center. They are subordinate to center. They are junior to center. Okay, they do not have real power. They do not have discretionary powers. Okay, center have power to punish them. Center will have power to remove them. Okay, so what happens in unitary setup that generally there exists one supreme government, only one supreme government and that is at center. Okay, but even if there are state government, then these state governments are subordinate to center and they will work according to the direction of the center. Okay, they are not equal to center. They are very inferior to center. Now friends, what is the second difference? So friends, in any federal system, any federal system has to have an written constitution. Means it is a must. It is a compulsory that a federal setup should have a written constitution. And that written constitution should clearly divide the power between center and state. That these are the powers of center government and these are the powers of state government. Okay. So what happens that in any federal setup, there should be a written constitution. There must be a written constitution. It is a must that any federal setup should have a written constitution, and that written constitution should clearly divides the power between central government and state government. That these are the powers of central government and these are the powers of state government. These are the list, these are the subjects on which central legislature is authorized to make law, and this is the list of subjects on which the legislature of states are authorized to make law. And friends, this division must be protected also. Now what does it mean? Means constitution should be rigid. Constitution should be rigid on these at least. Constitution should be rigid at least where it describes the division of power. Okay, means constitution should be rigid. Means it should be very, very difficult to change the provisions regarding the division of power. Means constitution should be very, very rigid in those parts which deals with the distribution of power between center and state. Means it should be next to impossible. It should be very, very difficult to change the provisions of the part which deals with the distribution of power between center and state. Means center government should not be allowed to change the provisions related to the division of power alone. Okay. Similarly, state government should also not be allowed. State government should not be allowed to change the provisions of the constitution relating to the distribution of power between center and state. Okay. So what is the next feature of federal government? Means any federal setup necessary should have any federal setup should have a written constitution. Okay, any federal setup should have a written constitution, and that written constitution should clearly divide the power between center and state, that these are the powers of central government and these are the powers of state government, and this division of power must be protected. Means the constitution should be rigid, at least in those parts, at least for those parts which deals with the distribution of power between center and state. Means alone central government or alone state government should not be allowed to amend the constitution for those parts which deals with the distribution of power between center and state. Okay, now what happens in unitary setup? So in a unitary setup, constitution may be written or unwritten. Okay, so we all know that, and we have also discussed in previous classes that in any unitary setup, constitution may be written or unwritten. It is not necessary that it should be written or it should be unwritten. It can be of any type. Unwritten constitution can also give rise to unitary setup, and written constitution can also give rise to unitary setup. So in any unitary setup, constitution may be written or unwritten. Okay, but constitution will always be flexible. Why? Because in any unitary setup there is only one government, and that is at central level. Means there is only one government, that is central government. Okay, and so the central legislature, means the legislative body of central government, can change the parliament whenever it wants. Why? Because can change the constitution whenever it wants. Why? Because what it needs to change the constitution in any unitary setup is just a new law by the legislature. Okay, so in any unitary setup, constitution may be written or unwritten. However, it will always be flexible. Okay, why it will be flexible? Because there is only one government, so that government will vest all the powers in itself. So all the powers are vested in central government. Okay, and central legislature is authorized to change the constitution according to its wish. So constitution is always flexible. Now what is the third difference? So friends, in federal setup, independence of judiciary is a must. Means judiciary should be independent. Means their judiciary judiciary should be independent from executive as well as legislature. Why? Because friends, in any federal setup, judiciary is the body which resolves the conflict between center and state which arise on the distribution of power. Now what does it mean? So I have told you that in any federal setup there are two levels of government. One government at center and one government at state. And there are many states, so one government at states. Okay. Now what happens that in any federal setup there is a written constitution, and that constitution clearly divides the power between center and state. Means there is a division of power. So what happens friends, if there is any conflict between center and state, or there is any conflict between two or more than two states regarding the distribution of powers. Okay, for example, center is saying that this is my power, but states are saying that no sir, this is my power. Okay, how can you touch my power? How can you use my power? These are my powers. So if there is any conflict between center and state or between the states regarding the distribution of power, then it is the judiciary who will resolve the conflict. Okay, so who will resolve the conflict? Definitely the judiciary will resolve the conflict, and the decision of judiciary is binding on central government as well as state governments. So judiciary should be very, very powerful. It should be independent to control the behavior of central government and state governments. But friends, what happens in unitary setup, that judiciary may not be that powerful. Why? Because in unitary setup, who is most powerful? In any unitary setup, the legislature is most powerful. Okay? Why? Because legislature has the control of constitution in its hand. Legislature can change the constitution whenever it wants. Any law of the legislature will become the part of their constitution. Okay, means legislature has all the power to amend the constitution. So who is more powerful in any unitary setup? Actually, the legislature is most powerful in any unitary setup. Okay, and judiciary is less powerful than the legislature. So judiciary is not that powerful in unitary setup. Okay. Now friends, we will discuss about the nature of Indian federal system. Okay. So friends, some scholars think that India is a federal country. Okay. Some scholars think that Indian constitution is federal by nature. Okay. And some scholars think that Indian constitution is only quasi-federal. Quasi-federal. What is quasi-federal? Quasi-federal means very little federal. Means it has a unitary bias. Or Indian constitution is very less federal and it is very more unitary. Okay, means Indian constitution is very less federal and it is more unitary. Okay, but friends, officially according to the constitution, India is a union of states. Okay, so when you will read the Constitution of India, the original copy of the Constitution of India, then you will find that India is a union of states. And the Supreme Court of the country has declared that the basic nature of India is federalism. Okay, so if we want to understand that whether India is a federal country or a unitary country or a quasi-federal country, what is India? So in order to understand what is India, we have to discuss about the federal features of Indian Constitution. And after having discussed the federal features of Indian Constitution, we will discuss about the unitary features of Indian Constitution. And then we will reach to any conclusion. Okay. So friends, what are the federal features of Indian Constitution? So first of all friends, in any federal system, okay, a federal system must have a written constitution. It is a must that a federal system should have a written constitution. Okay, and we have just read that in any federal system, written constitution is a must. Okay, written constitution is very, very necessary for any federal system. Why? Because this written constitution clearly divides the power between center and states, and it also protects this division. Okay, so friends, if we see India, so we all know that the Constitution of India is a written constitution. Okay, the Constitution of India is written constitution. So India is qualified with the first feature. So we can say that according to the first feature, India is federal. Okay, now we will see the second feature. Second feature is division of power. So in any federal system, there is a clear-cut division of power between center and state. Constitution clearly divides the power between center and state. Okay, means these are the powers of central government and these are the powers of state government. Okay, and central government and state governments are the coordinate bodies. Means both have equal powers. Both have different subjects to make law. Both have equal powers. None is subordinate. None is inferior. Both are coordinate bodies. Means both are just like big brother and small brother. Okay, both are coordinate bodies. Both are just like brothers. Okay. So friends, if we will analyze the Constitution of India, then you will find that there is a clear-cut division of power between central government and state government in India. In the Schedule 7 of Indian Constitution, there are three lists: Union list, State list and concurrent list. Central legislature means Parliament is authorized to make law on Union list. Okay. Similarly, the state legislatures are authorized to make law on state list. And on concurrent list, Parliament as well as state legislatures both can make law. Means there is a clear-cut division of power between central government and state government in India. Okay, now we also know that in India there is a separate government at center, there is a separate government in states, and the central government and state governments are the coordinate bodies. The state governments are not subordinate bodies in India. So India also qualifies with the second provision. So we can say that on the basis of the second provision of federalism, we can jump to the conclusion that on the basis of the second provision of the federalism, Indian Constitution can be said as federal. Okay, so India also qualifies with the second provision. Now friends, we will see the third provision. So the third provision of any federal setup is rigidity and supremacy of the Constitution. So friends, the constitution of any federal setup means the constitution of any federal country should be rigid, and it should be rigid at least in those areas dealing with the distribution of power. Okay, so what happens that the constitution should be supreme means the question arises that who is supreme in the country? Legislature is supreme, judiciary is supreme, constitution is supreme, or executive is supreme. So in any federal country, constitution should be supreme. And after that, the constitution should be rigid also. Okay, so constitution, and if it is not completely rigid, constitution should be rigid at first, and if it is not completely rigid, then it should be rigid at least in those areas which are dealing with the distribution of power between center and state. Okay, now we will analyze the case of India. So friends, in India also we know that there is written constitution, and in India there is the supremacy of constitution. Constitution of India is the supreme. Okay, legislature of India is subordinate to the constitution. Legislature of India derives all its powers and authority from the Constitution of India. So who is supreme in constitution? Who is supreme in India? Constitution is supreme in India. Friends, Indian constitution has 5 major areas. Okay, Indian constitution has 5 major areas where the distribution of power between center and state is given. Okay, means there are 5 major areas of Indian constitution which deals with the distribution of power between center and state. Okay, if these areas are affected, then the federal setup of India will be affected. Okay, so there are 5 major areas. Now friends, what is the amendment process of these 5 major areas? Okay, so first of all, the amendment can be introduced in either house of the parliament, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Okay, so for example, the bill is introduced in Lok Sabha. Now that bill should be passed with the majority of 2/3 of the members present and voting, supported by over 50% of the total strength of the house. So just now I have explained you about this type of majority. Okay, so the bill should be supported by more than 2/3 of the members present and voting, and it should also means, and that number should means, listen, that bill should be supported by more than 2/3 of the members present and voting. Okay, and the number of members supporting the bill should be more than 50% of the total strength of the house, means more than 272. Okay, so first of all, the bill will be passed in Lok Sabha by the same procedure. Suppose the bill is passed in Lok Sabha. Now the bill will be sent to Rajya Sabha. Now in Rajya Sabha again, the same procedure will be adopted. In Rajya Sabha also, the bill has to be passed by a majority of more than 2/3 of the members present and voting. And the number of members supporting the bill should be more than 50% of the total strength of the house, means at least 272. And after the bill is passed in Rajya Sabha, then the bill will be sent to state legislature, and that bill must be approved by at least 50% of the state legislatures by simple majority. Okay, so first of all, the bill has to be passed by Lok Sabha by a majority of 2/3 of the members present and voting, and the support of the members should be more than the 50% of the total strength of the house. And after that, the bill will be sent to Rajya Sabha, and in Rajya Sabha also, the bill should be passed by the majority of 2/3 of the members present and voting, supported by over 50% of the total strength of the house. And after that, the bill will be sent to states. Okay, and this bill should be approved by at least 50% of the state legislatures by simple majority. Okay, so I have taught you the topic of majority in much detail, so I do not expect that now you do not understand what is the meaning of special majority or simple majority. Okay, so now that bill should be passed, this bill should be approved by at least 50% of the state legislatures by simple majority, and after that the bill will be sent to president for his assent, and then president will sign it, and then the bill will become the act, means then the constitution will be amended. Means now you can understand, the summary is that the process of the amendment of constitution is very, very difficult. It is extremely difficult. It is next to impossible to amend the constitution. Means the process of the amendment of constitution is very, very difficult for those 5 areas which deals with the distribution of power between center and state. Okay, it means that Indian constitution also qualifies this condition. So we can say that Indian constitution is federal one. Okay, friends, there is an announcement for you. So friends, from tomorrow your Diwali vacation will start. Okay, and your Diwali vacation is from tomorrow to 16th of November. Okay, so now we will meet on 17th of November with our new lecture on political science. Okay, friends, there can be some noise in today's video, so please manage it because due to Diwali and Dhanteras, people are burning crackers and making a lot of noise. Okay, friends, in your Diwali vacation, I will upload the notes of all the previous lectures. Okay, so after Diwali, please do check the description of all the videos and download the notes of all the previous videos. Okay, and for this video, I have uploaded the notes and I have provided the link of notes in the description of the video. Okay, so friends, please do check the description of this video. Friends, now we will meet on 17th of November with our new lecture on political science. Okay, till then, and friends, at last, I request you all to like the video, comment, subscribe to my channel, and share this channel to all the people you know who are preparing for UPSC. At last, take care of yourself. Thank you.